Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode inside of the beta world. Starting this episode inside of the dwarven entrance, because that's where we will start the work today. I've got to dig this out a little, get the rest of this entrance area kind of figured out. There's some touching up I need to do in terms of stone and walkways and whatnot. I've got to fix up the rails here, and actually, we're going to end up doing some work outside of the entrance to keep things a little interesting. Now that I'm thinking of it, we need to touch that up a little as well to make it look a little nicer. But yeah, let's get right into it. Lots of cool things planned for this episode, provided I find the time to do them all. I started digging this, but kind of figured I would explain what's going on for any viewers who haven't watched the previous episode. Which, if you feel so inclined, you can go do. Maybe I shouldn't suggest that. Either way, so what's going on is essentially this is going to be slowly making its way downwards into the lower area. This is just the entrance. And you've got sort of this design motif with like the holes in the wall, which I think looks quite good. So we're going in until that design motif can... I've got it. Until the top of that can be covered by stone of the floor to act as a roof. It's going to keep the opening above it. So it should be actually this next section here that's going to expand out 5 that it can properly do that. So this will probably still remain stone. Another thing that I'm going to have to do is kind of figure out what I want to put here, because it's kind of like bleh. I don't know. It's bland. So I'll probably end up putting some dirt or grass. I mean, dirt that will eventually become grass here. But that's what's going on here. So I will get back to the digging and let you know how it goes. A little bit of a progress update. Okay. It's not that dramatic. A little bit of a progress update. This is coming along nicely. It looks very cool, especially looking down in it. You can definitely imposing, but I've reached a little problem. This being 3 blocks wide isn't really going to work because it goes down a block every 2 blocks, not 3. So if this were at the same height, it would be here. So if I were to increase the size of this, though, it would eventually just get really, really tall, which isn't exactly what we want. So I figure, obviously, that means it's just got to be every 2 blocks that it comes down a block. But the issue is, if I do that, then there will be a block here, which will look strange, because then it'll be, covering that. Not great. So I'm going to try and find a way where it doesn't look terrible. But, yeah, I'll get back to you when I do. Okay, well, that didn't actually take very long. I brought this back a block up here. It used to start along this block, this column, but I moved it back to start here. And then instead of it going down a block there, it goes up a block there, which looks still not awesome, but it's better than the alternative. So, I mean, yeah, no, I mean, I'm happy with that. Still think it looks quite cool. I also went ahead and um, where between these pillars here, I have the stone slabs, which I think gives it kind of a cool like edge. Where up here, obviously it's still coming down into the path, but once it's along there, it's got the cool border. This is cobblestone because I pretty much just marked out down here as a cave system that I lit up that I might eventually hollow out or, might eventually dig into. But that's what I've got so far. I guess the next big step is beautifying the rest of this. I also got all the pillars properly made and the barriers between them. I'm not going to put barriers here, or I guess in these four, just because this area is, plenty walkable, so there's no real point in, like, blocking it off. But yeah, that's what I've got. As you can see, the next part of this process has been completed. Got a bunch of dirt here. This is unfortunately kind of unavoidable with the way it's laid out, since it's 2 blocks of stone roof. If I were to break this one, I only ever seem to hear these noises when I try and talk. It's really quite funny. Regardless, these blocks here, if I broke them, would, expose down to here, which isn't great. But on the bright side, since it is a little messy, some of the grass from out in the valley made its way in here at some point. Or I guess just never got removed. So, fortunately, I don't have to bring grass all the way from over there. I can let it grow over to here and spread from there, which is really quite cool. There's one last thing I want to do before kind of, putting away the tools for this thing. And that's, I want to sort of inscribe the name I've come up with this establishment, or not establishment. It's not a settlement either. We can call it a kingdom. It's a dwarven kingdom. That's essentially what it is. But regardless, I want to inscribe in the walls the name of this kingdom, make it a little more interesting, and give it a little more personality, since it's a little barren, just a smidge, just a little, a lot. That didn't take terribly long either. So I guess, I don't know, do you want to call them runes? The symbols on the wall actually do have meaning. They spell out what's going to be the name of the Dwarven Kingdom, or at least this one. It follows the Dwarven script from the Forgotten Realms, like, book series. Super popular. based on like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. I was debating whether or not to go with like uh, the Elder Scrolls dwarven script, but this one was a little more versatile in that it's almost like you can just translate one to one, and uh, all the symbols for the Elder Scrolls script aren't exactly really known, so it makes it challenging. I guess a sheep just fell. Either way, that's done. Now it's just a matter of grass growing, which I think it has. Yes, once. So that'll take its time. And in the meantime, I think it's time. Freaking, how many times can I say time? I think it's about time that we take a little trip back to the village. Still need to come up with a name for that. And get some items and do a little work elsewhere. So I shall do that after I go and get the minecart. Well, the minecart is not in any of the chests, and it is not on the rail. So I guess at whatever point it got broken, and the item, wow, never mind. It has materialized. Well, I came here for sand, and it seems we have a shortage, which is not great. I'm not really sure where I can go to get sand, but I guess I'll need to find someplace. Well, the only place I can think that there would be expendable sand is near spawn, because I don't exactly plan on building too close to there, so I guess I'm going to be going on a little trip after I go back and empty my inventory. Well, this should certainly do. I'll probably do a time lapse of this, and I'll try and keep it not looking terrible. I'll still, give it some gradual slope down where I'm digging. But, yeah, we're a good ways away, so I don't think it's going to be too terribly missed, this sand. And besides, it's getting repurposed for a different bit of land, so this should be fun. I'd say that went pretty well. I got more than enough sand for what I'm going to need to do, and it was just enough that it didn't completely flood my inventory. So, that really worked out. And I think the border of it still looks quite alright. I will definitely be coming back here. This is definitely going to be the sand place. So what I'm actually going to do is... Guess I'll do it here-ish so I can jump into the water. But I'm going to make a pillar so that I know where this is and I can find it again. Because I believe spawn is back, or not spawn, but the village is back towards that direction. So needs to be high enough to see over the trees and the hills. And who knows, if I end up terraforming it really nicely, then maybe I end up using it, but probably not. There we are. Had to make sure I landed in 2 blocks of water, because you still take damage from the momentum in only 1 block. Regardless, I will make my way back to the village and carry on with what I was going to do. I was just walking up on the village, and I got that view. With the bridge in the background. Man, that is cool looking. That's definitely worth it. That looks sweet. Now, it wasn't long ago that I had mentioned wanting to fix up the terrain near the terraforming I did over here. More specifically, there was some ground that had sand. Well, didn't have sand underneath it, but it got to the level where it should be. So I wanted to kind of make it look a little more appropriate. I can also probably terraform this sand there and all that stuff and grab a little off of it if I need more sand. But either way, it should be coming up right up here after we dip down. I must say this scenery is still very nice, and I do have to do this area as well at some point or another. And here it is. This is the spot I was talking about, where the sand gets up to this level, but the dirt does not match. So, yeah, I probably should have crafted some shovels. That might have been wise. Whatever. What's another crafting table? I don't have any stone, though. Alright, well, I'm gonna make a little detour over to the dwarven area and craft up some shovels, and I'll get started on this. I'd say I'm pretty pleased with this. Looks quite good. Had to go back and craft some more shovels, but that's okay. Gave me a chance to get the stone and the cobblestone I needed for those. It was towards the end there that you saw. I kind of ended up redoing a good portion of it because it dawned on me that, you know, sand as a medium for terrain, I suppose you could say, is very like, you know, when you dump sand on the ground, it's sort of it's smooth. It's not so like you wouldn't see a weird sand pile there like that. It's very gradual, a material, I suppose is the way to put it. So I ended up going back and changing it a good bit in order to kind of get that more gradual look that sand would actually have. And, you know, not to toot my own horn, but I definitely think I pulled that off quite well. Um, so that kind of ticks off that checkbox, which is very nice. To make sure this episode gets out in a timely manner, I'm only going to do one more thing, and that is to clean up the terraforming here so that the arch and whatnot is properly defined, because currently the way that it goes, it covers up what would be, you know, the edge of it over on the left side. So realistically, this won't take long, but it's something. Whoops. That's not meant to happen. What happened there is when you're crouching and you're on the edge of a block, you're actually not really on the block. So when you jump, Well, specifically when you're on the corner of a block. When you jump, you don't actually land back on it, uh, leading to death, which is not particularly great. So let's hope some iron can smelt fast enough that I can get my items back. There we are. Now let's make our way over. Huh. Well, that's okay. I have a bed over there. I'll just kind of deal with the nighttime. Fortunately, I shouldn't encounter too many monsters, because this rail is nice and lit up, and nice and off the ground. Actually, might be quite cool to see it at night. I just hope I don't encounter any problems on this straightaway. Because there are points where it does get quite slow. And there are also points with pigs on them. Shucks. Oh goodness. Oh my. Putting me on the run. Here we are. Certainly looks like everything. Oh goodness. There we are. If I sleep on this, I should be okay. Yes, there we go. Well, that was eventful. And there we go, all cleaned up. Let's get myself reorganized here. That'll do. I'm not terribly concerned about the arrows. And... ah, the torch. There we go. Now, this episode won't be the 30-something, 40 minutes that it usually is, but that's only because last weekend was Easter weekend, so I was a little busier than usual. But I'd say this was quite a productive episode. I actually still have to fix that. That's better. Anyways, as I was saying, quite a productive episode. Got a lot done. Not sure what I'm going to be doing next episode, but I'll probably let this idle for a while and let this grass grow. And I mean, yeah, that's all I've got for you. If you are still watching, I appreciate your viewership. If you liked the video, being rudely interrupted. If you liked the video, feel free to like it. And if you didn't, dislike it. And if you really liked it, feel free to subscribe. Regardless, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and I wish you the best in your day to day.